And as we push through the bushes, we step out into the next area. But my batteries are getting low. So we're gonna wander on a little bit, see what we find, and God, what a beautiful October morning. We're about 4 days before Halloween, and the leaves are just starting to fall. Thanks for wandering with me. Let's look around a little bit more. Walking, and then get here. That catches my eye, and I realize next to it's a purple boulder too. Both. Ooh. Nice pieces of Jasper. Oh. Yeah, those are going in the bag. I'll tell you that right now, especially that one. It was so shiny. The back's muddy. But, oh, look. That pattern. It's ridiculous. The swirl of the mossy gold in there. And that deep salmon. And it goes all the way through there. For sure. Oh, look at the oranges up here. Look at the oranges up here. Okay, so that is going with us. That is a nice piece. And just that flat face there that broke, and the look into the swirls and things going on there. Yeah, for sure. And then this big dark purple, these are one of my favorite blends out here, and this one's got enough of the light colors to where it's not just black. When it's too dark, you really can't tell what's going on with it. So this is really cool because it has the contrast of a green that you'll see in there. That's a moss going all through the thing. You see it? Just all through. And then its colors are this pink, red, purple, white, of course, and just oof. And then what I found when I polished a piece of this before was it was also hematite rich, so it does get silver sheen to it in different spots. So I think it's a really cool, fun type of Jasper. Let me zoom in again to one of these zones. Those are going in the bag. Very asbestos-y piece of serpentine here. So the fibers in each one. Which is one of the things out here. When you live in a serpentine belt and you work in a serpentine belt, like you see all those houses, all those roads, the ranches, everything, all that serpentine dust. So all dust is bad for you. Some places got rougher dust, and we definitely got rough dust out here. So I just plucked another one out 2 feet away. Let's clean this one up and look at it because it's got crazy stuff going on with it too. It's got a lot of the bladed crystals going on with it that I was talking about. You can kind of see them in there. Different triangle shapes. There's a better look at them all. So I think this might actually be a broken off piece of one of those. larger boulders that we were kicking around, because that's their telltale patterning on the inside, is it divides into those geometric patterns. So it's still got a lot of agateness going on to it. You can see the different layers of stuff, but something affects whatever this is and makes it grow like that. Lots of cavities covered in grooves. You can see the whole structure of the whole thing is basically a huge lattice work of different crystals intertwining. This one's actually pretty hollow down in there. Let's see. So, pretty cool. So many different things going on with it. Even on these edges that have been exposed to the creek bed and stuff, it's still really obvious that there's patterning going on. Yep, pretty cool. Okay, back to it. Yeah, we found our agates. I think we had to walk all the way out here, think a lot of deep thoughts, and then now we can go have more coffee. God, look at this greenstone. This is another piece of serpentine of what I call the bowenite. So beautiful. You can see the green in there where it broke away. I mean, just beautiful, beautiful. This is a semi-translucent, the bowenite that I work with. I made the hooks and knives and all that out of. In the craft videos, if you go to my home page, there are all the playlists and all the videos I've ever made. We're up over 1,000 videos now. I think 1,200 and or so. So please don't be afraid to go check those out. So here is this crazy thing. Of course, right after the camera ran out of batteries and I was walking back halfway to the car, I found this. This is a huge gob of chalcedony, a big crevice agate that filled just a bunch of little crevices in the rock. And you know, normally I kind of pass these up and go, because a lot of it consists of the sandstone that the cracks were in, which also became silicated. So it's just kind of like a big solid mass. But I thought I'd bring this one home and show you, because it's got the little druzy pockets and stuff in here, the little druze pockets, and you can see the chalcedony content of the whole thing is really high. You know, there's almost no sandstone left. Every bit of it has been encased, but that also entrapped a lot of the sandstone, so it's kind of like a muddy gob of chalcedony. But I thought, you know, the outside of this was so kind of cool and honeycomb shaped because the soft stone was being eaten out and leaving only the vein work of the chalcedony, that I thought, well, let's go ahead and try and slice this. And check it out. It did slice, and I was able to take thin little slices out of there. Look how thin those slices are compared to like my thumb and my fingers. Look at that. Ridiculously resilient and strong. And then, look at that. So instantly I was like, what? I think that's pretty cool. So those super silicated little chunks of sandstone are all trapped in there, and then you can see the lacing vein work of all the blue chalcedony. So let me spray these. Actually, you can kind of look at the sparkle of some of the druze before we do that, because it kind of disappears when you get it wet. But we'll go ahead and wet these down. Isn't that cool? All the little pockets in there of the softer stone. And then you can see some of it's just totally silicated and trapped in there. This might be a fun one also to put in some sort of acid and eat away the soft stone and see how much was left, because you can see the vein work in here is very intricate. So we might give these big gobby chunks like this more of a look at them when we find them. You know, I usually kind of pass them over because we're looking for the more pure chunks, but they're kind of cool in their own way here. So I thought I would include this more in the middle of the video. Yeah, look at those pieces. That is super fun. The transparency of the material. All these little chunks in there. Well, it really goes from looking blue to just being really see-through when it's wet, huh? I think that's a pretty fun little chunk of material there, you know? Reminds me of some sort of agatized coral or something. And this probably happened in a spot where, just like any other sort of brachiation, you had like a cavity where silicated waters, you know, rich in dissolved silicates would have been flowing into it, and probably all these little pieces got suspended in that solution or fell into the top of each layer and then got accreted, gobbed onto it, whichever one of those terms is the correct one, until it was suspended, you know. Remember, these are cross sections. But yeah, I think that is pretty cool. Look at these intricate. This is probably the thinnest one. Look how thin I was able to shape that or cut that. And then I can't decide if I like these more backlit. We're looking at their details, because they do have really cool details down in here when you get that thin layer of chalcedony acting like a varnish over it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can find all those details I was seeing now, but you get the little pockets of druse. There's one that, of course, we cut through when we were cross-sectioning it. This one's really showing a lot of the blue. So pretty fun. I had to just kind of stop the show and be like, hey, I wanted to show you what I found right on the way back from this adventure. But like I said, put it here in the middle. Look at that. It's little, just thinnest little piece of stuff. I was amazed that there was enough silicate content to hold it together like that. Remember, I have an old wobbly tile saw that I'm using that, you know, isn't the most perfectly smooth thing, so sometimes the vibrations in that can break things that have that many weak spots in it. But this was remarkably strong. It took a full cut from end to end, and this is a thicker piece and still just very pretty fun, right? Pretty fun. There was the end that we were looking at. That's where I decided to cut in there, because it's like, well, I wonder what that honeycomb would look like. And that's what it looks like. And I thought, wow, I wonder if I could take a little slice of this. And I was expecting it to break into a billion pieces where all the softer rock is. Really gives us a chance too. So, you know, when I'm saying that the softer rock erodes away, you can literally see with my finger here, I'm able to get the softer stuff out. So that's what the water does, and then we find just the little pieces of it. So this is the crevice agate with crevices intact. And as you were going through this, you know, you'd run into ever more cool little patterns, and like I say, dropping this in acid might be really fun, because it would probably eat away a lot of that, but then not some of the others that are trapped floating in solution in between our slices. So yeah, okay, back to the hunt. There's that detail. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. You never know what's hiding inside a rock. Nice piece of red Jasper. Toss that in the bag. Look at the red of it. Ugh. Yep, yep. So we're getting pretty much to the end of where I hunt in this creek. In California, you do have the right of way as a citizen to walk up and down all these creeks and stuff, but there's a place on them where I like to call it the point of stewardship, where you have a right and you could go to the courts and blah blah blah, you know, to gain access if you were blocked and all that, but it's chunks of land where these waters go so deep into private land that it's basically been stewarded. You know, they've been tending it. It's incorporated into their ponds, into their waterworks that you know, have grandfathered in since before the laws came into play, and all that type of thing. So you know, that's where you should have respect for the landowners. That's where the line between respecting private property and then, you know, using your rights as a citizen meet in the middle and stop and respect each other, hopefully. So, and, you know, as the laws are written, that's where, you know, because there was limited nature in California and an ever-expanding population, they put that into the state legislature long ago, that all of the waterways would be public up to the high water mark. And if you can't get access, if something is landlocked, then you can go to court and all that and get access. That's also written up there. But where you have places like this, old ranches that are stewarded in and stuff, I really, really recommend trying to get a hold of the people, and hunters, fisher people, rockhounds, all kinds of people can get permission. Look for people at their gates, stuff like that, and pull up and just ask them, let them know what you're into. And a lot of the times, you know, you can get a gate key literally, and then you have access. So that's that's where the gray area of law and just, you know, commonality and common respect for, imagine that was your land. You want some crazy hippie rockhound climbing all through your duck ponds and stuff that great grandfather built, or, you know, could you just ask them, hey, you know, stick with the other 400 miles? So I don't know. That's where it's at. And believe me, I'm a big advocate of public land and public land use, but you will also find that a lot of the landowners, I'm a landowner myself, and you'll find that a lot of landowners are okay with that, believe in all that, and they'll even work to a certain level to uphold that and get people access and stuff. So don't be afraid to wander around, don't be afraid to explore your public land and stuff, but then when you reach a point where you feel like you're encroaching on people's actual personal space, structures, crops, all that kind of thing, you know, give them that respect of stewardship. We're going to start wandering back here. Is that? It's not a crazy agate. Right there, is it? What the heck? That is indeed a crazy agate. Right there at the end. Holy moly. Okay. We have our agate for the day. I'm going to clean this up, not even here. We'll include it right here in the video. Yeah, so here's this one. Big old gob of white milky chalcedony with lots of other things going on. Again, what we could categorize as a crevice agate, because this filled more of a random crevice in the rock. Even though it was a big gob, there was all the host rock all around there. And then this is what weathered and eroded out of it. Let's look at the edge of the red here. You can kind of see different patterns going on with it. It's fine bits. And then a cavern full of some real petroleum. That's almost fleshy looking little cavern down in there, huh? Do we dare put our finger in there? I mean, thing looks like some sort of sea creature that would gobble you up, but that's actually just all petroleum crystal growth, crystal habit. That's what's going on in there. And then if you look, you can see the blue of the whole thing, that calcetony blue. Into yellows, and it's got a lot of iron staining. But yeah, I think that's a really pretty zone there where the different minerals are interacting. You see the little plume work between the white and the blue there. Cool end of the hunt. Near the end of the hunt find, we start walking back and the battery is going dead, and so I only have time to pick up each of these, and then I have to show you the cleanups in the studio. Eggot right there. I have to show you this close-up afterwards also. Like right here. Here's this little gob of crevice agate, all scrubbed up. You can see the blue calcetony of it, and then the little faint ghost lines. It's a hair, let me get that out of there. The little faint ghost lines in there that actually give it its agate virtue. It's not actually just pure calcetony, it's got fine little layers going on. That's more of a crystal structure there in the middle, and then almost made like an X out of itself. I think that's probably where two veins inside of a rock filled in, and they just happen to be crossing each other. Okay, just picked this one up and found this one. Gonna have to show you close-ups here in studio because we are running low on battery. But this is an insane botryoidal agate. Check it out. Here's this little nugget of goodness. We can call this one a crazy crevice agate because it's so mixed up. You can see all the different swirlings and churnings of it, which at first might make it look kind of ugly, but we're lucky because the river has washed out a lot of the dirt. As we look down in here, we can see it's got some really opalescent, beautiful blue botryoidal growth going off into the caverns. And if you look at each one of the little zigzaggy parts that make this up, it's a pretty beautiful, intricate little gob of stuff. Oof, right? Who doesn't love that? This is actually the stuff that I like looking for the most out here, because the botryoidal blue bubbly ends up being so beautiful. Yep, so I feel like that was a good little, ooh, look. Layer after layer of goodness. Fun little find.